Welcome to this What's Buzzing in VetVine segment. I'm your host, Dr. Sherry Berger, today speaking with Gwen Pettit. Gwen is an associate certified coach by the International Coaching Federation and moderator of the new Coaching Corner Forum. I recently caught up with Gwen to talk to her a little bit more about the coaching process and more about what she does in working with busy veterinary professionals. Here's an excerpt from our conversation. Gwen, I want to welcome you to VetVine. Pleased to be talking to you today, and would like to find out a little bit more about you and what you do. Please tell us a little bit more about yourself.
Thank you. I'm excited to be part of the VetVine community. I think it's really a great place to be and work. And what I do with coaching is help people find solutions to their problems. And coaching is it's really a very interesting process. It's not a consultant, but it's about finding, getting and wanting, getting more out of life. And it's never dull, and it's something I really love to bring to the medical profession.
Well, that's great. I believe that probably many people are unfamiliar with what you do. Certainly I wasn't before I got to know you, but in today's segment we're going to talk about what coaching is. I know we're going to run through some of these bullet points. Tell us a little bit, an overview about what we're going to speak about today.
Well, that's perfect, Sherry. We're going to cover who needs a coach, when do you call a coach, when do you not call a coach, and what results you can expect. That's probably the number one question I get is what is a coach? It's certainly not an athletic coach, but it's a whole process of helping people create positive change. And it has a process, it has a system, it has steps, and it's also very individual, which is why I think it's just such a great process for people.
Sounds good. So I know you made a very clear distinction that a coach is different from a consultant, and I know that all of the busy veterinary professionals are very familiar with consultants. We have consultants that advise us on business practices, medical topics, and so forth. But tell us in your own words how you differentiate coaching from consulting.
I think both consulting and coaching, they want to bring solutions, and they're looking at organizational effectiveness. However, a consultant is likely to gather information, analyze the data, and then offer an expert opinion. And they're still working towards solutions, but it's primarily based on work-related solutions. As a coach is more relationship-based because the best solutions in the world still depend on you, your interactions, your relationships with people for any new system or any change transformation you're trying to put into place. So coaching is more personalized. It also takes the whole person into account. What's going on at home? What's going on at work? All your interactions. And I think coaching, number one, promotes self-development, that getting you to enhance your skills and build on your strengths. And so I think that's probably the biggest difference, that the coaching is more holistic, self-development, and more personalized.
Sounds interesting. So at the end of the day, the goal of coaching, how would you describe it in a soundbite?
I think the goal of coaching is helping you to get more out of life and meet your highest expectations in work, life, play, and get a good balance with that.
Well, I know that most everybody that I know could benefit from coaching, whether they know it or not. So then how do you come into this? What's the role of the coach in this dynamic?
The role of the coach is really, I would say, I'm your best advocate. If you want to make a positive change, I'm also your biggest challenger because I'm going to hold you accountable to the goals and the standards and what you said you wanted to achieve. So it's kind of a yin and yang. It's really giving you a strategy, helping you make a blueprint and a plan so that you actually have attached action steps to your dreams. And it's providing you with some tools, some opportunity, and building on your own knowledge base. The coach process is based on your skills and that you have the skills and knowledge, information, what's going to work the best for you. And my job is to pull those out and help you turn them into action steps so you're really moving forward in a direction that you want to go.
Sounds good. So specifically, can you give us an idea of how you work with people? What do you do?
The process is really based around asking questions. Rather than giving you my expert advice, I'm asking questions and guiding you because people learn by doing. So it's based on what has worked for you in the past and how can you translate that into using it going forward. And challenging. I'm the person who asks those tough questions. Is this working? Is this not working? What's getting in your way? Helping you identify and putting some awareness on the boundaries that you face. And sometimes we set up our own roadblocks by not looking at something in detail. It's a partnership. It's based on what you want, and I'm the guide. So it's not about me. Coaching is really all about you. Providing some support, encouragement, because if you want to make a change, you sometimes have to stop doing some types of behavior in order to fit new things into your life. And that's not always easy. So it's about commitment. It's about making a change and a transformation at your own pace, in your own world, in a way that fits you. And that's really the fun. The fun part for me is really to see how people grow and develop with a little bit of support and encouragement. We all could use that when we're trying to make big decisions or changes.
And I know you've worked in the human health care world as part of your background, but you've also had a bit of experience working with veterinarians, so I think you have a good appreciation of their challenges in the day-to-day.
I do. I think the stress of and the time constraints of the medical field, whether it's human or veterinarian, is often not really appreciated by most people. And it's a catch-22 because people love what they do and they're passionate about their clients and their animals. And you have to find a way to balance that so you can keep doing the things that you love. Particularly in the veterinarian field, it can be exhilarating and it can be draining. So you have to find a way to make it work for you so you can keep doing it.
Great. So you've told us a bit about what you can expect from the coaching process, but tell us what coaching is not. I know you've emphasized that.
A great question, because that's where I think people have some misconceptions. So coaching is not about fixing problem behaviors. If you have an employee who's late or doesn't follow policy, that's really disciplinary. That's a human resource issue. And coaching is not me giving you my expertise. I consider you the expert in the field, and my job is to guide you. It's also not counseling. Counseling is usually based on looking back and fixing problems in the past. Coaching is about looking forward and where do you want to go, what direction, and making changes and small steps that make sense there. It's also not gaining a new best friend. I have a role to play, and it's both your advocate and your challenger, and I'm not the one who's going to say, I think you should do this. Our friends do that for us, and sometimes they're right, and sometimes they're helpful, and sometimes that's not helpful. So coach is altogether a different animal.
Understood. So in terms of benefits, if somebody's going to invest their time and effort in this process, what can they expect to yield from it?
Well, they can expect to see some changes. And you can find that in organizational effectiveness, where the processes are moving better. International Coaching Federation did a study that talked about outcomes. And some of it was building self-confidence, some of it was personal satisfaction. And as you know, all of that adds to the positive atmosphere in an office or a hospital. Those are the kind of people you want to have working with you and stay there. So it's achieving goals and outcomes, and it's measurable. At the end of the day, did you get where you wanted to go? And the coaching is about helping you figure out how to get there, but you can measure that. And that's been a great reaction. A lot more organizations are using it, both for employees, for teams, and for executive coaching.
Understood. So I guess the biggest thing is that many times people seek services, advice when they're in a crisis mode. How does somebody know whether they need coaching, even if they're not in a crisis mode?
Yeah, and that's perfect. Sometimes people need to be at that tipping point where, okay, I've dealt with this situation, whether it's life-work balance or trying to manage your time long enough that I have to do something. So that's usually the tipping point towards coaching. But it can be changing roles and responsibilities. You're in a new hospital. You're in a new setting. You're moving into a supervisory role. You're doing more management. You need to you need to clarify your goals for the future and planning. Sometimes we get stuck in the day-to-day that we don't have time to look ahead. And coaching can really help you clarify so you know that your day-to-day steps are helping you get to where you want to be in 6 months or a year. And it's taking your ideas that you have, concepts, dreams, ideas, and saying, you know what, if I'm going to make this happen, what are the action steps? So there's the accountability piece of coaching, that you have to have action steps and time frames attached to something to really expect and get something to happen rather than just hoping. Time management, that's probably a big area that I deal with, particularly with veterinarians. There's never enough time. But you never get more time. You get to change how you manage it and what you do, and the choices you make can help. So that's a big area. And building on your strengths. In the end of the day, it's about improving your satisfaction with what you're doing in your life, whether it's at work or home. And so anyone who's thinking they can do better, want a little bit more, they can all benefit from coaching.
And I know you've worked with individuals and with teams. I understand that a recent study that you presented to me showed that 86% of organizations felt that they at least had a return on their investment when they engaged for their teams in this process.
And that's an important number because organizations and professionals need to know that what are they going to get back from their investment. And it was directly correlated to organizational effectiveness, communication skills, time management skills at work, and all of those things that help individuals and professionals and your life run a little bit more smoothly. So I think that's a nice research tool to know that other people have been able to demonstrate a benefit.
Agreed. And I think, again, it's important to reiterate what coaching is not intended for, particularly in organizations.
Yes. There are times when you have problem employees, when you're just task training, where someone has to learn a skill and this is the set sequence, then that's training, not coaching. And same thing for new employee skills. And it's always helpful to understand if I start coaching someone and we're not compatible or what they're looking for isn't a match, we discuss that right up front. And sometimes I've talked to someone once or twice and we've decided that coaching is not the right tool for them. So then they make a change.
Sounds good. So if somebody decides to get started in this process, what's the first step?
The first step is really putting some awareness and thought on what do you want? What kind of goal, what kind of outcomes are you expecting? And then we build the coaching process from there. So one of my favorite questions, if you could change one thing about your life that would have the biggest impact right now, what would that one thing be? And if you narrow it down to that, you're able to start, you start on something that's going to make a big difference. So it's really asking those questions and then looking at the commitment. How important is it? What are the impacts of not making a change in your life? And how can you envision what positive outcomes would come if you could make this change? And then that's where the coach comes in to help you make that plan and really follow it through.
Well, it sounds like a wonderful service, and certainly in VetVine we're pleased to have you here. I think what you do can certainly benefit all busy professionals. We've got the Coaching Corner Forum, of course, and this is a place where our members can engage in some conversations on topics with you. And we also look forward to the series of webinars that you're going to be presenting that I think will be very helpful in giving people some food for thought on some of the other side of veterinary medicine or the fallout of our busy lives and the toll that it can take on us.
Yeah. No, I appreciate the opportunity to be part of this community, Sherry, because I think it's just self-care is really critical to both personal self-development and professional self-development. And you're right. We don't, as medical professionals, we don't always take the time to do that. But when people do, I think they will get results that will carry them through so they can stay doing the work that they're passionate about and have a great life.
Sounds great. I want to thank you, Gwen, for introducing us to this concept of coaching, and we look forward to hearing more from you as we go along.
Well, thanks. I appreciate it, Sherry.
Thank you.